There's a book. Anybody ever read the book called Millionaire Real Estate Agent?
Yes.
Anybody? Back in the day, some of you that've been around for a while. So when I got my real estate license, that was the first book I read. Okay, and there's a quote. I want to read a quote in there from that book. It says, "There are so many great reasons to devote." Now, before I finish the quote, when the book was written by Gary Keller. Anybody ever heard of him? Okay. Now, when he wrote that book, it was 2003. Now, anybody know how many agents were at Keller Williams in 2003 when that book was written? There were 14,000. Now, Keller Williams had been around for 20 years. How many years? 20. And it took him 20 years to grow to 14,000 agents. 20 years, okay? And he wrote a book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, all right? Now, in that book, he gave some advice. Now, I was a brand new agent. What was I?
Brand new.
Brand new. Now, no, don't call yourself brand new, all right? We're gonna tackle that in a minute. I'm a brand new agent. Can I practice on your house? Well, get out of here with that. You see what I'm saying? So when and we're going to go back to the book quote in a minute. When I got my real estate license, you know what my title was? A lot of people put realtor.
Expert.
Expert. I wasn't an expert. So I was like, I wasn't faking the funk now. I wasn't going that deep. Was it mega agent? Couldn't say that. Never worked with a buyer, never worked with a seller.
Your favorite? Professional.
Professional.
There you go.
Okay, that wasn't it either, because I was not a professional. I guarantee you that. I didn't know what I was doing. All right? Listing specialist. That's my title. Now, I'm not telling y'all what to do. Uncle Knolly's here to give you, I'm sharing with you what I did. Okay? And how I listed 21 houses my first 74 days in the business. Okay? Now, how do I know I listed that many? Because I was with a company called Prudential back then, and it was a 60-40 split. 60% to them, 40% to me. And after I took 21 listings, I said, thank you very much. I'm going to this company over here. All right. And I left with my book of business. It was I had 21 listings that I took in my first 74 days. But I read a book. It was red. It was a red book called Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And it told me what to do. I was just going through it, and I said, I didn't have another plan. Like Roman and I talked last night, and he said he's got all these ideas. And I say, people come to work for me. I say, you make your first million my way. You make your second million any way you want. We have models in this business. So I was going to make my first million Gary's way, because I didn't have a way. Anybody ever been like that? Who did something before real estate? Raise your hand. If you did something, I'm not going to ask you what you did now. So some of you guys are like, I don't want to raise my hand but most people who got right out of school and went right into real estate, raise your hand. We got one person right here. You went right into real estate. Okay, that's good. But it's very rare. Okay, so in that book, Gary told me what percentage I should focus on listings. Can anybody guess what percentage that was? By the way, let's go back while your mind is turning and thinking. Let's go back to this listing specialist thing. Okay, now can you specialize in anything you want in this business?
Yes.
So I was being truthful. I'm a listing specialist. That's what I specialize in, because you can choose right out of school whatever you want to specialize in. Okay. Now, I had never worked with a buyer, never worked with a seller, but I'm a listing specialist. All right. Now, how many people asked me how long I've been in the business when I went on a listing appointment?
0.
None. I'm a listing specialist. Okay. I had my package. And I'll share some of that with you here in a bit. But nobody asked me, and I wasn't volunteering. I wasn't going to tell them. All right, because it didn't matter. Right. We all did something before real estate that prepared us for a career working with people. That's what we're doing. So in that book, he said there's a percentage of your business that you should focus on listings. What percentage? Anybody got a wild guess? Right here.
100%.
100%. Is that a wild guess?
No.
He's sounding confident now. What? What's your name? Jelani. That's right, Jelani. We met earlier. Jelani. Who wants to think that? Now that sounds kind of excessive. 100%. All right. Who wants to agree with Jelani that might be the right answer? Yeah. Okay. So here's what he said. I'm going to read the quote. There are so many great reasons to devote all of your time and effort to taking and marketing listings. Make listings your primary focus. All right? So that's what I did. And if you go back through my history, 20-year history in this business, you'll never find any marketing that I've ever done for buyers, ever. See, a lot of you guys are like, man, why am I getting all these crappy buyers? And I'm like, let me look at your ads. Do you have no credit? Are you busted? Are you broke? I can help you find a house. And you wonder, why am I getting all these crappy leads? Well, your messaging.
Yeah.
You have to match your messaging to your market, to your target market. Okay? And when you start messaging differently, you start getting a different result. Does that make sense? So everything that I put out, are you thinking about selling your home? What could your home be worth in this emerging market? Are you even curious? You know, those are the kind of buttons that I'm pushing. Does that make sense? So, all right, let's talk about, so we talked about why you guys are here. I'm going to introduce myself in a minute. But before I do that, I want to talk about the paycheck that you'll never spend. Okay? I was at and some of you, you've heard this before. Some of you guys have maybe heard this. So, but it really changed my life. Have you ever been at a point where something, like an epiphany, like something you heard, it just tweaked and you got it and it kind of carried with you? So I was at this coffee line. By the way, who has not had their coffee this morning? Raise your hand. Uncle Knolly has not had his coffee this morning. Y'all probably came here talking about Uncle Knolly had coffee, you know, right? And I don't have any. I do have waters though. So if anybody gets thirsty, anybody want a water? You guys, this water, we were talking about water.
You were in the coffee line?
Yeah, I was in the coffee line. We're going to talk about the paycheck that you'll never spend. So I was in this long coffee line. You ever been to a convention? Like those conventions, those big ones? And the coffee line is like so long. And I'm walking over, I'm like, this Uncle Knolly in the house. Where's the VIP line around here? They're like, sir, you got to go to the back of the line. I'm like, what? I got to be on stage in a minute. So anyway, I'm in this long coffee line. I'm agitated. Hadn't had my coffee yet. And this guy walks up to me, says, are you Knolly Williams? And he comes to shake my hand. I said, I'm looking around, like, ain't too many black cowboys up in here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm Knolly. He said, man, I want to share with you how you've changed my life. I'm like, do I know you? Have we met before? How I changed your life? He said, man, you put out a training series and I watched it. Now, when I watched it, I was on my way out of the business. Anybody ever been there? On your way out of the business? Well, your family says, go get a real job. That real estate stuff ain't, you're not making it. Okay? Some of y'all been there, okay? And that was him. And he watched this training. He said what he did differently, he started implementing the training. Okay? And he said he took 60 listings in the subsequent 12 months after really snapping in and studying the game. Okay? And he said what it did for me, yes, I made a lot of money, but what it allowed me to do was put food on the table for my family. And I'm thinking like, man, I fed that guy's family. Like, that feels good. I call that the paycheck that you'll never spend. You know, I used to go out and speak. People pay me $5,000 to speak for 30 minutes, an hour, But ask me what I did with the money. I can't tell you. It's gone somewhere. I don't know where it is. Anybody ever made money and you're like, what happened to all that money I made? Like, is it ever happened? Yeah. Am I the only one? But that is the paycheck that I'll never spend. When you can sow into somebody's life, that just feels good. And I believe that's a big purpose for why God created us. And that's the reason why I recently launched a nonprofit 501c3 where everything that I do is ministry now. It's ministry, okay? So when I go out and teach, I don't charge. It's free. A lot of times people will take advantage of that and just not show up, and that's okay. I know that the Holy Spirit will bring the ones that need to come into the room. And people, I've not shown up for stuff. I get it, But that's what I'm all about now. I don't work for a living anymore. I have a residual. Anybody have residual bills? We talk about residual income. Like, I got residual bills. Anybody got them? I do. Okay. So, but now I have more residual income. That means if I don't work at all, my wife and I live in Puerto Rico. Okay. I don't have to work. Okay. Unless I choose to. Okay. I don't work for a living. That's the point I'm making. I have more residual income than I have residual bills. So I said, you know what? And I was challenged. The Holy Spirit challenged me. He said, why don't you just do it for free? I'm like, who's that talking? I don't know. Look, this Knolly over here. I'm an entrepreneur. You know, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 12 years old. Why? You know you can do it for free. You don't have to charge these people. Man, where's that voice coming from? Man, I don't know what you're talking about. Anybody ever done that? God will tell you something, you're like, man, I don't know what kind of plan you rolling with, bro, but this is what we doing right here. And God's like, no, Maurice, let's do this right here. And you tripping. You ever done that? So that was me for a while, and finally you get to a place of obedience, okay? And that's where I'm at now. And so I love doing this. I love sewing into you guys. I love you talking to me later and showing how this piece helped you with that, and how you gain more wisdom, okay? And here's the truth. A lot of times when I go places, people will say, hey, I already knew that. Mm-hmm. But to know and not to do is not to know. Mm-hmm. It means you really don't know. Because knowledge is one thing, but when you apply the knowledge, you know what that's called? It's called wisdom. Alex taught me that one last night. Yeah, I tuck them away. You know. By the way, nothing that I'm teaching you is, I call them Knollyisms, but I didn't invent any of it. There's nothing new under the sun. Every single thing that I teach is what I learned. And so Uncle Knolly gives you permission. You learn something here, use it. You know, you can give me credit if you want. You don't have to, okay? But so into other people.